Hi, everybody. It's Steve Olson, WSO Updates. We've got a kind of an important update today. We're actually going to be having on today our Wayne Stiegler, a great friend of mine. Wayne, hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, Steve, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And I wanted to just kind of say thank you publicly for keeping me in this game. Just a little backstory before we get started on this important update today. Wayne actually kept me in this ministry because I was ready to give up a couple months ago because I was just getting sick of all the opposition, and Wayne prayed with me. And Wayne, I just wanted to thank you for keeping me in the game.
Steve, you are a valuable and most rare resource. And listen, we're in this together, brother. And so it's just an honor to call you friend. And I thank you for all of your dedication.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, the first thing that we want to get started on is I've got up this, the four graphs that you showed me, four of the graphs that you showed me today, the KI index, the ACE magnetometer, I think, the proton flux, and RTSW, which is magnetometer too, I think. So what's
Yes.
remarkable? Why should I be worried about these, Wayne?
Well, I think if we would step back, let's go 48 hours in time. This would get us to Sunday night. We all who watched the sun knew that there was a filament rope up on the northeast side of the sun coming in across the limb. Well, we all know that Monday morning that released, and it was a big release, as you know, Steve. And then there are some astute watchers out there. The one that I sent you was right before the one of the sun. You could see it where the coronal hole was down there in the lower left-hand side. Something happened when that filament released, and then the next picture we get is this coronal hole has literally, Steve, doubled, if not gone 2.5 times bigger than it was. That's a lot of material, solar material that's gone. Now, interestingly enough, today, when we started monitoring the last 24 hours, all the data is not there. It's gone, Steve. It's absolutely gone. Now, what makes this even more bizarre is the fact that we're kind of used to this with NOAA and, with NASA, but rarely do you see this happening with the Koreans. And this is where I sent you those charts. That was the Korean data. And as you can see, they have a 24-hour gap as well.
Yeah, and this was about the same time yesterday when we put out the WSO alert, and I remember I asked you for advice on that. You thought it was a good idea. This is when we saw that huge ejection off it would have been relative to that camera behind the sun to the left, on the left side of that picture. We'll show that picture again here in a minute.
Good, yes, but you are correct. That is absolutely correct.
Right. So this is just another warning, guys, that we lost some data from yesterday. Typically, a CME takes what, anywhere between 48 and 72 hours to hit us.
Yes, depending on how fast the ejecta is moving.
Right. Lots of material came off the sun. They're blinding us from the satellite views. Maybe they've restored the data by now. I will get, that sometimes will happen, Wayne. I'll say, oh my
Yes.
God, and then later you'll see the data restored. Perhaps we'll see that today. But right now we are very suspicious, everybody, that what we have is an oncoming CME. We'll try our best to track it. Wayne is a close friend of the channel. And in fact, such a close friend that I also want to go to, oh my God, number two, contribution by Wayne, which is this photograph. Wayne, I have one single photograph, clearly the sun in the middle, some kind of a blue object in the back, and then a dot at about the 1 o'clock position. Can you explain to me what you captured yesterday? This
Yes,
photograph?
to the best I can do. So, as we all know, Steve, and as you continually tell all of us, a good observer keeps good data. So I went out, a little background on this, I'll digress just a second. I have been experimenting with a lot of different filters. I became very dissatisfied with what was available on the consumer level, so I began to go and make investments at the professional level level, and got in a very special filter on Saturday. I gave you the specs to it as to what it actually sees and cuts out from the UV and what it allows in from the infrared. So
we'll paste those specifications, Wayne, in the comments below this video. Go ahead. Sorry.
Good. So we had a perfect day here in Colorado yesterday. Beautiful blue sky with the murky haze that we're all used to. Started filming about 10:30 because I wanted to follow you, Steve, on your observation that you showed on Sunday. And I said, all right, we're getting multiple reports of people seeing an object or multiple objects. So very shortly, all I did was that I had approximately over a dozen filters set up. And when I used this new filter I had gotten in, it clearly showed another object. And I could see it actually in the monitor. And what I immediately wanted to do was to do the standard test that we're all so well versed about. All right, if you want to see if it's a lens flare or not, do the finger test. And if that doesn't meet and it continues to stay there, then let's do the slow gradation of bringing darkness across the sun. If there's another true object there, it will show itself. And as I was doing that, it was very clear that this object was not moving. And it was definitely there. So when I saw them, my jaw kind of dropped. Being suspicious, when you called me, you said, well, what's your first impression? And I said, I really thought it was lens flare. I said, that's what I was out to debunk myself about.
Right.
And it wasn't passing the test, and that's why I brought you in. And now we have the results.
Right on, man. So let's review. So this is basically a combination of IR and UV filtering. And one of the theories that Wayne and I are bouncing around everybody is that the 1 o'clock position orb also is in the same position of that big CME that we saw yesterday, or that big solar release that we saw yesterday. Because that's behind the sun, we're in front of the sun, so we're seeing it to the right. That would see it to the left, upper left. And one of the theories we had was that maybe the sun charged up the object momentarily while Wayne just happened to be there with a UV collector, and we caught basically a charged up picture of this planet or object.
And just to add to that, Steve, as you saw in subsequent shots with different filters, by the way, there was clearly a plasma reaction. Now, I know that there's a lot of the people out there that, say, oh, that's nonsense. But no, it's really happening. And when you look at these different light spectrums, they're picking up something that's reacting up there.
Right, and that's the other thing that we captured, which is that if you look in the upper middle part, everybody, that what we say is a plasma reaction. Magnetics, the fourth state of matter, okay? And we've got a lot of activity electromagnetic activity going on up there. This thing has been visible for a while, but here's the deal, guys. We're catching it ourselves now. We're actually able to break it down and look at it. And here it is showing up in the UV band too, which you would expect plasma to show up in the UV band, right?
Yes, you would. Absolutely would. And Steve, to corroborate what you just said, anyone can go back and they can go and look at the LASCO or SOHO footage. And if you'll go back and you'll look at when Comet Ison was coming in for its near miss to the sun, Mercury was sitting down there in that 8 o'clock position. And as Comet Ison went by, you could actually see the electrical reaction coming off Mars towards Comet Ison. So it's happening out there, and the Earth is not immune to that.
No, it's not. And that's why we talk about electromagnet, and that's why we wanted to put this video together today. And by the way, the reason that Wayne doesn't sound so good today on the broadcast is because we had to resort to phones. We could not get our computers to work on Skype or Facebook or anything. So basically, I turned off my internet. We're working by phone right now. So just a reminder to everybody, olson.steven.d@gmail.com. Now what I'm going to do, Wayne, is I'm going to jump into some of the other photographs that you took, and we'll talk about those a little bit more too. Just pulling those up right now.
Great. Yeah,
So
just to add to that, Steve, as you know, all of our batteries and our cameras are acting haywire. It's just, so I think we're being bombarded by supercharged particles.
yeah, I think we are too, actually. Yeah, and I'm not saying that there's any foul play going on here. I think that possibly we're just experiencing a high level of electromagnetism, which would be really nice to see on a space chart, wouldn't it?
Yes.
All right, so
It's a small data. It's a small thing, Steve.
right, so I'm gonna talk about the first one is just the sun dot in the middle of the screen, and you were just zoning in your camera, and you took a photograph with a lot of filtering on here. And the thing I wanted to point out to the audience is that our hypothesis is that they've got some kind of a huge screen in front of the sun, a UV, some type of a filter that makes it very hard to see behind and what's going on. And in this picture, Wayne actually picked up when you zoom in on this, you can actually see what appears to be a lattice work of stuff right in front of the sun. So that's the first thing. Now, the second one I'm going to show is from yesterday. This is that big, huge, humongous discharge that we saw from the sun almost at the same exact time that Wayne and I were taking pictures, or mostly Wayne with his UV camera. I was taking pictures with my camera. I'm going to show you a couple things today that are going to blow your mind. But this was from yesterday, right? And this is what we think is part of the problem or part of the manifestation of this large coronal mass ejection or potentially material from the sun. So again, heads up, put your most vital electronics in the microwave, okay? That was a good suggestion yesterday we got from many. A microwave happens to be, yeah, a microwave happens to be EMP proof, by the way, which makes perfect sense. They don't want the EMP waves to escape it. And so makes a perfect container. So anyway, there's the photograph that we were just talking about. And then here is the one where the sun is to the left, Wayne, and the object is very clear in the middle.
Yes, yeah. So that's what drew my attention. When I saw that, I said, okay, something's up here. Steve, I literally have over 80,000 pictures in my archives. And when I saw that, I said, all right, this is either a double image hitting off the aperture on the inside of the camera. And I took the steps to eliminate that, and it still was there. And so immediately the radar went off and said, what's happening here? So that's how that came about.
Okay. And I just wanted to point out to you also that maybe something that you didn't notice, but there's a little speck right by the sun. Neat, kind of interesting. Could be a moon. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it could be a moon. It blows my mind.
Waving, I don't know.
Here's one that the next one I have up is, again, Wayne with the UV filters. Here's the object, and I'm just pointing it out. And then we started to see these triangles, right, Wayne?
Yeah.
And again, what do you think these triangles are from?
Well, so here's the mystery to that, and I have the same picture up in front of me. So you can see the lens reflection coming off the sun. And the object is still holding steady at the 1 o'clock position. But look at these triangles. Now, I take meticulous care, Steve, to clean my lenses every time I go out and do a session, particularly now with all the dust and pollen around. That is just weird. And the thing about it is it stays constant in a number of other shots. So are we picking up something that it's reflecting off of? Just being on your archives, you have shown how many pictures of the same type of refraction, reflection, whatever you want to call it.
Right, right. And again, I'm actually have the cameras out today looking for the plume. I caught it this morning. We're going to look at a clip at it here in just a second. And then here's a direct shot at the sun with the object at the 1 o'clock position in this one, Wayne. This is you further trying to confirm it looks like that. Is it a lens flare? Is it not a lens flare?
That is correct.
And I don't have the finger test pictures here, but you actually ran your finger across the sun. And what happened to the object when you did that?
Very interesting. So exactly like you would typically expect to see, where darkness is coming over a very illuminated object. If it's a lens flare, as the focal object is the focal point of the flare, then as it goes down, so should the ability of the flare having a reflective value on the lens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and these are posted on my YouTube channel, Steve, if anybody wants to see them. And you can see very methodically that as the darkness continues to encompass the light object, there's two separate light sources there, very clearly. And when I covered the sun up completely, guess what was still there?
The purple object
position.
in this band of viewing it, which is all UV light here. This is what we're seeing, by the way.
That's correct. That is correct.
Ooh, Wayne, I just have to take a big breath there. That is, first of all, I think that all bets are off on any dates. So, if anybody is believing in any of these dates and things like that, you know, please reconsider that and prepare. Don't delay because you think it's going to be in another year. You know what I mean? So the next thing I'm going to show is actually, I think from this is some footage that I got from a viewer. And this is basically showing the C3 combo and looking at the magnetometer and the, you know, just this one. And Wayne, you can't see it, so I'm going to be talking through it. But basically what you see is these orbs showing up on the side of the sun in some kind of a reflected way. And again, very suspicious activity. We don't usually see this type of a manifestation next to the sun with this instrument. So just another kind of a sign, right? Another sign. And then I want to go to this morning's. I actually caught a sunrise. We had a relatively clear sky. And I had our WSO high definition time-lapse photographing going on. And I'm so proud of us getting our own capabilities together, Wayne. You know, you with all the UV stuff, and then now we're going to do the satellite flight or the low Earth orbit flight. Exciting stuff.
It's very exciting, Steve. Very exciting. And thank you for taking the initiative and leading the path.
Well, thanks. So anyway, here's the sun coming up, and you can see that we're still getting some chemtrailing. I'm a little bit concerned that we're not seeing a lot of chemtrailing right now, but it's still happening. You can see the aircraft going over as the sun time lapses. The first thing that I'm going to tell you guys is that the sun normally does not rise at this place in March. That's usually a midsummer rise point for me, and I watch the sun my whole life. I'm just a sky watcher. It usually raises right about here, just a little bit to the left of the silo. That's where it should be coming up right now. I'm just telling you guys, that's what I observe on my property. The second thing I'm going to show you in this picture is you're going to notice a planet come around. See, here it comes, right here. The planet goes down and then off into the distance. And then the third thing that you're going to see, we're getting some great shots with this HD camera, man. The third thing we're going to see is the plume is going to appear very clearly in a second. The same thing that Wayne caught with his UV, only now in color. And what's interesting about the plume is it's red and blue, number one. And that's crazy because we know red Kachina, blue Kachina. But look, check this out. There it is. And I think we're going to capture it again this afternoon. I have the camera live out there right now. And there's the whole manifestation of it, you guys. Unbelievable stuff. And so I just wanted to show you guys that. You know, I can tell you right now that guys, we're catching it. We're not a bunch of hacks out here trying to deceive anyone. Seriously, we are actually with our own equipment, and it's validated and corroborated across the world with the other equipment that we have access to through the All Sky Cam network and ISS imagery and things like that. But now it's our own stuff, you guys. And so I'm just going to put up the still image of what I saw this morning. And I want to zoom in on that plume again and just prove to you guys, look, that's not a sun flare, guys. And then it's reflecting down to be this plume. It was also seen on a UV image, so corroboration is fully in place with this, okay? The next image that I wanted to show you, and I know it's a long show today, but we're getting so much material. This is from Sharon. She's my friend now. We talked on the phone. I think she had an IR image for this one, didn't she, Wayne?
That is correct.
Yeah, so this is an all IR image, and the sun clearly in the left there. Again, at the 1 o'clock position, we see these objects. This further corroborates what Wayne caught on his camera. So,
In fact, the times on this one, Steve, sorry to interrupt here, but the times are uncanny between what you were seeing, what she was seeing, and what I was seeing out here. It's clearly something is visible in North America now.
It is. And if it wasn't for the screen, and actually, you need to see this with the camera, everybody. The reason for it is the glare of the sun completely blocks this out. If you try to see it with your naked eye, it would just your eyes would just you can't see it. You have to actually set an exposure down. Like say if it's a video camera and you have a scale of 1 to 5 that you could set it to negative, you'd want to set it to a 3 or 4. Then it will take the sun away, and then you'll be able to see the object more clearly. And we're learning how to see it, you guys. Okay, together. So I wanted to show the Sharon picture real quick before we jumped off of that, and then finally, this is the go back to the picture from actually 2 days ago that I took again with that same red and blue thing. Guys, come on. All right. So anyway, update complete. Wayne and I wanted to get out the message that we're missing some satellite data. Heads up on a potential CME coming in the next 24 to 48 hours. Have your precious electronics in the microwave or in some kind of a Faraday cage. Make sure you have at least 3 weeks worth of water and 3 weeks worth of food at a minimum. Wayne, did you want to close off with anything else? Thank you for being a guest today.
Well, thank you for having me, Steve. I appreciate it. And again, I appreciate your diligence as a watchman. And, you always end most of your shows at this kind of telling people, this is the time to really start looking inward. And, if things were to end, and we hope that they don't, but if they come quickly, where would you stand on that other side of eternity?
Yeah, and the thing that Jesus said, which is most poignant thing he ever said to me was, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, for I never knew you." And that goes for the religious people. That was pointed at religious people. That wasn't pointed at the lost. Okay? I don't want any of my Christian friends to ever say that, have Jesus ever say that to you. So what I would ask you to do is get to know him. And that means you have to listen. And, that's a conversation. It's two-way. You talk, listen, he talks, you listen. Try it out, man. It works. Okay? And we are praying for everybody. And until next time, we're signing off. WSO.